Rolling is essential in jiu-jitsu. It allows you to learn how effective your techniques really are and how well you stack up against other people. But rolling should be done with safety as the top priority, and you should train like you want to do it for the rest of your life. There are a variety of questions that should be taken into consideration when you're about to roll, such as, have you been recently injured? Or are you coming back from an injury? What is your age? Who specifically are you about to roll with? Do you participate in strength training? Are you an active competitor or just a hobbyist? These are all valuable things to consider because your rolling will be different depending on the circumstances. First off, if you are currently dealing with a serious injury, then you should probably either not be rolling at all, or at most, rolling very lightly with people that you trust. Injuries take time to heal, but you can still do supplemental training where you can roll lightly or from specific positions. Personally, I suffered a knee injury last year which kept me off the mats for about 3 months, and off work and walking on crutches for over a month. When I felt it was safe enough to return back to training, I started with very slow drilling and didn't even consider rolling as my knee was still very unstable. When I did choose to start rolling again, I took it slow and I started with strictly a defensive approach, allowing everybody to start on my back and work their attacks while I simply tried to survive as long as I could. The back position took the pressure off of my knee and I was able to train lightly while avoiding the possibility of re-injuring it. It didn't matter much to me that I was unable to roll with the same intensity that I had in previous months. I didn't care that people less experienced than me were starting in better positions and I was being regularly submitted by them. It was great for their development and it was beneficial for my recovery and the development of my defense. What mattered most was that I was back on the mats again, back on the mats that I had missed so much. And I didn't rush my way back into jiu-jitsu. I gave my body the time that it needed to heal. And as a result of that, I've been rolling happily ever since. The next thing to take into consideration has to do with age. With youth comes a lot of benefits, such as faster recovery from strenuous exercise, stronger bone density, and an added ability to take on strain. Jiu-jitsu can be a regular martial art that people of all ages can practice, but with differing degrees of intensity. With age, you are much more vulnerable to injuries, and your body will take a longer period of time to recover from the training sessions. If you're feeling good, look for safe training partners who will prioritize your safety. In a bigger gym, you may have the luxury of finding training partners of similar age and who are equally as interested in preventing injuries. But in smaller local gyms, this may not be a reality as training partners are scarce. Therefore, only train with people who you know that you can trust and will take good care of you, as you would do for them. The third thing to take into consideration is who you are rolling with. Age, size, strength, gender, experience, and personality all play a part in this. Maybe you are young and strong and very competitive. Rolling with somebody who is the same age as you, who is just as experienced, will likely result in an entertaining, competitive roll, which will bring out the best effort in both people. But you wouldn't roll with everybody the same way. Rolling with someone who is half your size, much less experienced, or even twice your age should appropriately be a much slower paced roll, where most of your efforts should be spent defending against them and allowing them to work. Focus on your technique, be defensive, start from a bad position and let them practice their technique on somebody who is much more experienced. This will make your defense better and their attacks more sharp. This will result in a better skilled training partner who will be an asset for everybody in the gym. While I'm preaching safety first, don't underestimate the value of a hard competitive round done in a controlled setting. Competitive rounds are crucial to develop a comfort for high intensity, especially if you're actively pursuing jiu-jitsu as a potential career. But know that those very competitive rounds are like sprinting and should only be done a couple times a week at most. The majority of your competitive training should be focused on skill development and rolling in a way that can be repeated frequently. Another major factor in your ability to get the most out of your rolling is if strength training is made a priority. Strength training helps to do much more than build your muscles and make you look better. It also strengthens your joints, your tendons, ligaments, and increases your bone density, making strength training one of the most effective things that you can do to prevent injury. Doing it will keep your body strong and enable you to deal with the strain that jiu-jitsu puts on it. Anytime that I got acutely injured, I can trace it back to an imbalance in my training. Usually what that imbalance contained was the overwhelming vast majority of my focus being on training jiu-jitsu while failing to prioritize strength training and recovery. Since developing the habit of routinely doing strength and conditioning workouts, I have noticed that my body is much more able to handle the strain that jiu-jitsu puts on it. If you're training jiu-jitsu on a regular basis, 2 to 3 times per week, then you would benefit greatly from adding 1 to 3 20-minute strength training sessions per week. There is no evidence that one routine works significantly better across the board for all individuals, so it is best to find a routine that you like. There have been many different successful jiu-jitsu athletes who practice all varieties of strength and conditioning training. Examples ranging from classic bodybuilding, Olympic weightlifting, high-intensity interval training, yoga, and triathlons. Personally, what I enjoy the most is a mix of unconventional exercises and calisthenics. A strength and conditioning workout for me will likely involve kettlebells, battle ropes, slam balls, a variety of bodyweight exercises. I also make time to run at least 3 days a week and build my aerobic capacity. Find what types of exercise you love and that work well for you, and then use them to supplement your jiu-jitsu training. Now, the rolling that you do should be very different if you are a competitor compared to a hobbyist. Hobbyists should roll, but if jiu-jitsu is your method for developing self-defense or a hobby to enjoy just for fun, then don't make it anything more than that. Keep the majority of your rolls playful, but remember to push yourself when the time feels right. You may need it one day, and if that day comes, your body has been prepared for a fight. But don't put yourself at an unnecessary risk of injury where you would have to be off work or miss out on other things. For the active competitor, there is no way around it. You have to roll hard. But not every session needs to mimic the intensity that you will feel on a competition day. Most of your training should be spent developing your skills and increasing your overall understanding of jiu-jitsu. If you barely practice developing your skills, and the only training that you do is rolling, then you will fall back on what you already know and your game will never evolve. You want to save your intense rolling sessions for 2 to 3 times a week, where most other sessions are no higher than 70 to 80% of your max. This type of training will enable you to be more recovered for your hard sessions, less prone to injury, and more energized for your session. You will get much better, much faster this way. In closing, it is essential to take part in sparring if you wish to improve in jiu-jitsu. Your techniques need to be battle tested and you need to experience real resistance from an opponent. But rolling should also be fun and enjoyable. You should be looking forward to going to the gym and training every day. Training should be an addictive pulling force, and it should be something that you aim to do your whole life and not just for a part of it. Be intelligent with your approach, and jiu-jitsu can be enjoyed for the decades to come. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I sincerely hope that you got some value out of it. If you did get some value out of it, please consider sharing the video with a friend and subscribing to the channel. It helps my channel grow, thus creates a bigger impact, and I can reach more people and hopefully provide value to them as well. So, thank you very much for the continued support.